for you coming up shortly.
The month of March, it is Ghana month. And welcome to News Central. I am Mawina Beta.
And I am Judith Brown. The bulletin starts now. We start from economic forum taking place right here in Accra. The chairman of the organizing committee, Dr. Ishmael Yamsing, has dismissed suggestions from the forum that he will take a stop, will be able to give clear-cut measures on the state of the economy. He maintains that the state of the economy makes such an engagement timely and necessary. Let's take you live to the forum now. My colleague Alfred Okanse is there for us. He will be interacting with some of the key persons at this economic forum. You heard, of course, John Dramani Mahama, the president of Ghana, speak earlier this afternoon, and Alfred Okanse is joining us now with details. Alfred? Right, and so we'll get to Alfred Okanse shortly. But of course, we have been listening to that address by the President, John Dramani Mahama, right there in Accra. He has been talking about the state of the economy currently, the true state of the economy. And you heard him earlier talk about a number of issues, the fact that the economy is not in the right state right now as we speak, and there needs to be more done to make sure that the economy is put on the right trajectory. Marina, I heard you listening to him. What other things did he say?
Speaking a lot, starting off from basically you can say where he left off during the State of the Nation address, where he gave a brief pictorial view of what the Ghanaian economy looks like. Today, he continued in that tangent, citing examples of how, in certain instances, single source procurement were leading to the loss of millions to the state, amongst many other things. But for the neutrals, where you want to be able to take a lot of reassurance from the president, specifically has to do with the assurance he provided that he was going to see through the implementation of the reforms that are going to come out from this particular dialogue, and stressing on the need for change in the way things are done. And it's a theme that's run across from all of the individuals who've spoken, from Dr. Ishmael Yamsing, who is leading the group who are organizing this, to Dr. Amwako, who's a long-standing economic development expert. Let's take you to the place right now where Dr. Patrick Esuming and my colleague Alfred Okanse has caught up with him for brief conversations with regards to what it is that we've seen over the last 1 hour plus.
That struck me was making government spending more efficient, reducing the waste in public expenditure. So I think, those are very important areas, and then of course cutting the waste and the corruption.
Fantastic. I appreciate you for this, and thank you so much. And I know you are going into the other plenary session, so we would be talking some more. Thank you. That's Professor Patrick Esuming. He is a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, joining us right there to talk about his expectations as well of government beyond just the talk today, and beyond that commitment that the president expressed today during his address. Now, I'm going to be talking to a few more people, because this is a 2-day national economic dialogue bringing together the private sector and major players, especially in industry, as well as the financial sector, who are the movers of this economy. You hear the finance minister talk about the number of state-owned enterprises that are running at a loss but are still being paid. The question is, what has to be done going forward? What is the plan to turn around the fortunes of the state-owned enterprises? And I have here Mr. Daniel Kojo-Wusu. He is the country managing partner for Deloitte. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. pleasure.
Hearing the finance minister, first of all, talk about the economic situation that we're faced with right now and what his government, as a matter of fact, and he as finance minister intends to do going forward, did that convince you that these policies can turn around the fortunes of this country?
Yeah, so thank you for the opportunity. So whether that convinces me or not, I think first of all, I like the atmosphere, and I also like the manner in which the issues were presented, especially by the finance minister. He's giving the state of the economy, and that is the state of our economy. I mean, it remains to be seen the actions that we are going to take. And if you hear the president and you listen to the finance minister, it's an action that depends on all of us. But I also like, there are some bold statements that they have decided. And I always talk about the fact that the solution to our common problems does not reside only with the government. All of us has a part to play. We are talking, and there are both decisions that they want to take. For example, looking at some of the bilateral agreements that we have signed with oil exploration companies and all of that, those are things that are very, very good that I see that they are trying to review, and for me that is good. They also talk about over-dependence on imports. I mean, we all know it. It's about how do we do that. I think it also featured prominently on how we can process our agro products. What the best way? For me, the next steps is the difficult one. How do we tackle it from one step to the other? If all the things that we are talking about, if we are able to do that, then I will say I'm very impressed. I will be looking forward, and I will be cheering, and I'll also be playing my part from where we sit. We'll be doing our part to ensure that we support the government to succeed. For us, if the government succeeds, it's for all of us, and therefore we are ready to work with the government.
Zosu, appreciate you for this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Certainly.
Yes.
And we're certainly going to be talking some more. That's Mr. Kojo Usu, who is a country director for Deloitte, talking to us about his expectations as well. We're going to be talking some more, and let's do this quickly. I talked about the fact that the financial sector is heavily represented here. There's a reason why, because the financial sector has suffered over the years gone by, especially because of the impact of the DDEP and then also the financial sector cleanup. And we're seeing as well the commitment that has been made to improve on the fortunes of the financial sector. But what are the specifics? What are the expectations of the players in the financial sector? Ken Thompson is joining us right now. He is a former CEO of Dalex Finance, but a respected financial analyst globally. So Thompson, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. It's good to see you. I mean, I didn't expect that we're going to hear something that we didn't know already. What I'm expecting is that we need, to have change, you need to really articulate a vision. And once you articulate that vision, you need to go on, you got to articulate that vision and keep going on about that vision. And that's the element that I hope it's pulled out. Even more importantly, I mean, we've talked about what we want to do, which we know. We've talked about why we want to do it, which we know. But the next steps are, how are we going to do it, and how do we know that's been done? And unless those questions are answered, we're going to end up where we have been all these years. What are you going to do? Simple. Why are you doing it? How will you do it? And how do you know that's done? It's so simple, and so that it doesn't end up being a talk shop. The financial sector is a subset of the economy. For me, as someone in the finance sector, I believe that we need to increase local participation in the financial sector. There's no way this country will develop if its economy is controlled by foreigners. And the financial sector is key to development. So some way, somehow, we need to control, we need to ensure that local participation, and I'll use the word control, that the financial sector is controlled by indigenous financial institutions. All those countries who have financial institutions say they are prospering, go to their countries and see what's happening. They won't allow foreigners to take over. It should never happen. We should not work, pay taxes, and then give to somebody else to take to their country. No, it should never ever happen. So I'm hoping that this is the start of increasing indigenous financial sector participation, indigenous local participation in the economy of Ghana. It's critical. It's critical. I mean, if you want to come to this country, go and do the more risky things. Why should we give you the easy things to do? Why should we collect taxes, give it to you, you buy T-bills, and then take the money you get from it to your country? It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. You know, I remember just 2 days ago, I was having a chat with someone, and he said, oh, you know, the government's got to be careful about, you know, bringing more financial institutions, increasing indigenous financial institution participation. He said, but even if the financial institutions come, what business are they going to do? The same business that the foreigners do is the same business that the indigenous financial institutions will do. Yes, but the only people who develop this country are Ghanaians. And really, for me, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. But we've done what we want to do, which we all knew. We've done the why we want to do it, which we all know. It's how we'll do it, and how do we know that we've done it? And those critical questions must be answered. For me, that's critical.
And you didn't get those answers?
Well, I'm assuming that this is the beginning, and over the next couple of weeks, those will come out. But unless we answer the how and what the success factors are, it's a non-starter. We've been here before. We've done economic dialogue before. We've talked about it before. Everybody knows Ghana's problems. It's only got worse. Nothing on that space has changed. And what is not measured is never ever done. If we don't measure it, it won't be done, and 4 years from now, we'll be singing the same tune. It's as simple as that.
Right, simple as that. Mr. Thompson, appreciate you for this. And I know that we're going to continue this conversation. Yes, we've got to continue this a lot more.
This economy belongs to Ghanaians. We must control it. We invite foreign participation. We promote foreign participation. But we are the only people that will develop our country. It's as simple as that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ken Thompson is the former Chief Executive Officer of Daylex Finance, one of the financial institutions in this country, respected financial analyst for that matter, talking to us right now. The Honorable James Klusia-Veji, a former Ketu North Member of Parliament, a former chair of the Public Accounts Committee, also respected economist who also spoken about the state of the economy, frankly, and no holds bars, because we are faced with the situation that we are all living by the day. I'm talking about none other than the Kwame PNM. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, listening to the president, and I thank you as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Appreciate you. Now, listen, and I'll start off with you, Mr. Kwame PNM. Listening to the president talk about the state of the economy, and then also you'll hear what the former president, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, said at the last State of Nation address. The economy, he says, is an economy that is working, that he handed over to John Dramani Mahama. And listening to the president give an account of the state of the economy now, whose report will you believe?
I think that what President Mahama has promised us is that he's resetting the economy for better growth, inclusive growth. And I think that the Minister for Finance, the way he presented the state of the economy was fantastic, breaking it down where we've been doing badly and what we need to be able to grow this economy to what we want. What I like about this thing is that President Mahama has said he's going to be the leader who sacrifices and transforms for this economy to grow. What we had lacked in the past were political leaders who were prepared to lead and sacrifice for this economy to be transformed. And I'm happy that President Mahama has taken that role, that he's promised he's going to sacrifice himself, and we are all behind him.
It goes beyond this verbal commitment for transformation. We've heard this verbal commitment for transformation before. The previous administration described this economy as a Gadgetsburg economy. We know that. You and I know this. But we did not see much beyond that verbal commitment. What do you want to see?
All of us as Ghanaians, committed, working hard, whatever you are doing, the little that you do adds up to growth, domestic product. So with integrity, honesty, hard work, no stealing wherever we are put, but looking out for the interests of our brothers who are in the village, the villagers, if you steal 10,000, that doesn't go to build a school or a chair for a young boy to develop their talent, a young girl to develop their God-given talents, then you are doing something wrong. So this is a resetting. We should forget about the past and look forward, reset the economy and grow the economy.
What is your verdict on the state of the economy?
My
verdict on the state of the economy as you are experiencing it now?
It is difficult. It is hard. But they say that when things are tough, that's when the strong people, the strong men and women get going. And resetting, if the president resets and is prepared to lead us, we will follow and change this economy for your children and your children's children.
Mr. PNM, thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to be talking some more from PNM there. And let's just stay a bit further on this matter because he talks about stealing. James Klucha-Veji, former Kecho North Member of Parliament, former chair of the Public Accounts Committee of the Republic of Ghana, is joining us right now as well. Thank you so much, sir. Now, you hear the president talk about procurement corruption. And that's one thing that kept coming up during the Public Accounts Committee sittings. Every year, you sit there as chair, you hear this, but not much seems to be changing. What has to be done?
Thank you very much, and I'm very grateful that today the leader of our nation, the president, has identified procurement as one area that we can change. As the former chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, we have done our bit based on the report of the Auditor General. We have made several recommendations for people who flouted the law to be prosecuted by the Attorney General. But the previous Attorney General has not done any work on all the people we have recommended. People individually have gone for procurement through single source, awarding contract to the tune of $26 million in this country. These people have been recommended for prosecution by the Attorney General, but that has not been done. So if the President has identified this area as one area that we can work on, I believe strongly that this will save the country a lot of money, which in the past have gone down the drain. Because if one procurement through sole sourcing, an individual can make over $22 million as profit, cool money. That is going down, going to affect the economy of this country. So I tell Mr. President, and Ghanaians must be thankful to Mr. President that procurement is one area that is going to target very much so that we can save a lot of money for this country.
Perfect. Now, we talk about the measures in saving money for this country. We have heard this talk before about plugging the loopholes in the procurement system, stopping sole sourcing. What are the specific measures you expect of this administration to deal with this matter of procurement corruption?
I think that the law must work. You see, if you say sole sourcing, there are conditions that must be present before a sole sourcing can be granted. If those conditions are not present, the procurement authority should not grant any approval for any request, whether it's a road construction or what kind of procurement. If the conditions under which you can give sole sourcing approval are not there, don't do it. So Mr. President can check that if there's a procurement which has gone against the procurement law, where the conditions under sole sourcing are not present and the procurement authority granted anything of that nature, then those procurement authority must be held responsible. And Mr. President should also not allow or agree that any minister or any government official coming to him requesting for sole sourcing for a project, if those conditions that are to be present before sole sourcing is granted, if those conditions are not there, the President, Mr. President should not agree and approve those requests. If those things are done, we are going to prevent a lot of issues that in the past have gone wrong, so that we can save money for this country.
Dr. appreciate you for this. Thank you so much. And the fundamental expectation is that if those things are done, the expectation is that some things would be done. The political commitment has been expressed verbally now, but there are measures that are expected to be put in place to ensure that this transforms into policy and some level of commitment beyond today. Dr. Setuma Kwabwa is here, is the president of the Association of Ghana Industries, the CEO, and then also I have Abnamwa, who is the managing director of the Ghana Stock Exchange. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here on TV3. I'll start off with you, Abna, ladies first. Okay. Even in the financial sector, you see the market, the financial market, is responding, with some level of positivity. As we've seen with the change in administration every now and then. For you at the Ghana Stock Exchange, what are you expecting to be put in place to sustain this positive reaction that we're seeing in the market?
It's very exciting to see all Ghanaians come together to really look at how we grow our country together and reset the agenda. And for us at the Ghana Stock Exchange, the key areas we want focus on and for sustainable action on is on macroeconomic stability. It's so wonderful to see interest rates on government securities going down. 91 Treasury bill rates have gone down from about 28% to 20%. It means it's positive for the private sector. What is left for us to do is to broaden the base of wealth creation. We've seen how state-owned enterprises are becoming a drain on the Ghanaian financial system. And so our ability to put these companies on the stock exchange, where there is more accountability, there's more transparency about their performance, we can ensure that is one important thing that we should do. Again, many companies, and today we are talking about how do we finance the economic growth we are looking for. Ghana is closed off to international capital markets. The need to grow strong domestic markets, centering around our strong and growing pensions industry, the Ghana Stock Exchange, grow local savings that can go and invest in the infrastructure we need, invest in the private sector that we need, and enhance ownership. Ownership is important. It's not enough to say we have so much for natural resources, but if Ghanaians don't own it, how do we process it? How do we have industries? And so ownership using our capital markets is an important thing that we hope this dialogue, once we've agreed the programs, how are we going to fund it? Are we going to exclude Ghanaians from owning these companies again? We address that through those dialogues. Very important call. And I'm going to stay with me, but I have the Deputy Finance Minister designate who is going to be sworn in by the President in a bit. I also have Dr. Setuma Kwabwa with me. But a very quick one. Yes, to you. We hear some measures and policy that have been announced today to, as it were, ensure that the macroeconomy is strengthened, and then also by the Finance Minister to ensure that the macroeconomy is strengthened going forward as well. But there has been that concern about cutting down expenditure and some of the fiscal measures that are expected to be put in place. Now, for you and where you are going to sit as Deputy Finance Minister, what are some of the areas that you're looking at expanding or widening the tax net so that the burden of tax will reduce, so that the other sectors that are supposed to be taxed would also be taxed in this expanded tax net?
I'm sure you're asking this question because of our promise to remove some taxes. We have repeatedly said that that promise will be fulfilled. But we also believe, and the Finance Minister has said this many times, that we do not need to introduce new taxes to rake in more revenue. We are going to broaden the tax net. We are actually going to enhance compliance. And you hear a lot of this in the budget when it is presented. And you see, in fact, he hinted that as a country, we are not taking advantage of the economic rent that we are supposed to generate revenue from through the exploiting industry. And so that is one area that we are going to look at, and I believe that will be able to rake in more revenue. To be honest with you, because we have been denied access to the international bond market. We have to do twin things: enhance revenue and also manage expenditure. And so the budget that will be presented on the 11th of this month, you are going to see a lot of that. A lot of people are concerned that where will the growth come from if we are going to cut expenditure. We will cut expenditure, but we will channel growth, we will channel the expenditure that we have to do to areas that will generate the growth that we need. I wouldn't want to preempt a lot of things that will be said on the 11th, but you will see some wonderful measures that will help us achieve all the things that we have said. To be honest with you, we are almost through with the preparation of the budget. However, the outcome of this forum may also feed into the finalization of the budget that will be presented. And we are looking at the medium to long term, how to put this economy on trajectory for sustained growth. And let me end by saying that President Mahamad's vision to organize this economic forum is actually motivated also by the fact that we know, he mentioned earlier on, that he is already focused, he's determined in the direction he wants to send this country and the economy. But he needs to build consensus. Since '92, we have seen change of government from one party to the other. What is the point in gathering only for another person to come years after to scatter all the gains that you have made? That is why it is important for us to build consensus, so that if in the next 16 years, 20 years, another party takes the reins of this country, there is consensus on the path to development, the path to growth, so they don't depart from it. And this is what is going to help us to sustain the gains that we have started making.
Thank you. Thomas Nyankwampim is Deputy Finance Minister designate, expected to be sworn in by the President in a bit. But I still have Mr. Chuma Kwabwa here. You're very interested in how the private sector, the Association of Ghana Industries, in fact the industry sector in this country is going to, as it were, benefit from the policies going forward. Hearing some of the policy promises today and the commitments, what are the specific expectations going forward in terms of measures to reduce interest rate on loans, and then also to ensure that the cost of doing business comes down?
Yeah, that's very key to us, and the President said it all, that they are resetting the economy, they're trying to see and implement measures that will support the growth of the manufacturing sector, and that will require that indeed we have interest rate coming down, because, you know, for businesses, money is our lifeblood, and therefore we are looking forward to getting cheaper money to be able to do business. I think what is important also that was mentioned is the macroeconomic stability. All the key indicators that have been mentioned, it looks like we have some challenges in the system, and therefore if we see improvement in those macroeconomic variables, then that would be great. We want to have inflation within reasonable level, we want to have exchange rate within reasonable range, and we want to be able to borrow at a cost that is that makes our businesses commercially viable. So these indicators are important. And I remember the President also mentioning the fact that manufacturing is going to be key and is going to be part of the 24-hour economy agenda. We have already engaged Mr. Gusitando and Mr. Setekwe about the 24-hour economy and how government plans to program it in a way that brings industry to perspective. And indeed, they emphasize the reality that in spite of the challenges, if we work very strongly on the industry side and really set up manufacturing, supporting the various value chains, we will see a lot of improvement in the manufacturing sector. We have made a lot of proposals to government already. In the budget that is going to be read in March, we've made inputs already, and we've set up a number of committees to work with government to make sure that the agenda of resetting industry and making industry contribute a lot more to the economic growth is achieved.
Thank you so much. And the expectations are really high of this economic forum. And I've been joined by Dr. Joseph Obeng, who is the president of the Ghana Union Trade Association. Good time.
Head Alfred Okanse, the head of the political desk right here at TV3. He's been engaging some key stakeholders as well as important people. We had, of course, the Deputy Finance Minister he spoke to earlier. These are key stakeholders as far as the economy is concerned. And you had, of course, Kwame Pianim an economist, give his verdict on the true state of the economy. He says that it's a very difficult one, but of course, he's also expressing hope that indeed the president as well as the government will be able to restructure the economy as they have promised. But of course, there's also the question as to whether or not this will really be done. We've had political leaders over the years given that commitment to transform the economy. But then again, the Ghanaian people have been disappointed on a number of occasions. We also had the former CEO of Dalex Finance. He was expressing concern about the house. He says that we've had what we want to do, why we want to do it, but how are we going to do these things? And so we're hoping that, in the coming days, as this economic dialogue continues, we're going to hear more on really what the government is intending to do in terms of how they're going to handle this entire transformation and restructuring of the economy. But we're going to head now to the Volta region because several women and children in Salakope, Amutinu and Agaveji in the Ketu South municipality who have been displaced by the recurring tidal wave incidents along the Keta Lagoon have been spotted sleeping along the streets. Now, the recent sea erosion in the area has displaced more than 200 residents, exposing them to the harsh weather condition at the night. Since there have been no alternative housing options available, TV3's Faisal Abdul Idrisu has been monitoring the situation in the affected areas and joins us with some details on this. Faisal, good afternoon. Now, how do you paint the picture for us in terms of the situation in these affected areas for our viewers regarding the distractions being caused by the sea?
Judith, this is the most hardest and difficult moment in the lives of the residents in Salakope, Amutinu, Agaveji, and other parts of the Keta and the Anglon areas. And now, this is the fourth time in 2025 alone, starting from January 17, that the residents here have experienced sea erosion, which has actually caused them losing their homes and leaving them homeless. On Saturday, another incident happened. Now, before Saturday, I was here on Friday, and if you look at the Salakope area, for instance, there were still buildings left on the stretch, but Saturday's incident has taken them away, and so the entire Salakope community now is gone, taken away by the sea. And so that is only increasing the number of persons who have been displaced. Last night when I got here, I met several of them sleeping just by the roadside, some under mosquito nets, some were sleeping in the open without mosquito net, exposing them to mosquito bites, among other weather conditions that come with sleeping in the open. I've been engaging several of them. Let's first and foremost take a listen to what they've been telling me before we proceed with this conversation.
It is very scary, yeah, because I don't know what to say. It's very scary, yeah, very scary. They thought that the sea can come into, like, come to the place, and then you can wake up seeing all your things wet, soaking water. It is very scary, but it's just that we don't have another option. This is not a life I'm used to. Our old house, I have a room of my own, so I have my privacy. So waking up one day and then like we have to leave that house, like, was very painful to the extent that, like, I almost cried. I cried because, like, my comfort is gone, my privacy is gone. Like, because we once have home to wake up and see that, like, there's nothing to go back to. It's very like, I don't even know the word to say.
In the past, I would say that we have lost so many lives indirectly, because when sea takes over their homes, for instance, they become traumatized. And I've seen people who are psychologically sound and healthy, within matter of days and weeks, have lost their mental health, all due to the devastation.
When it is day, we all come around. We have friends, brothers that we talk alongside. But when it is getting to night, I become so traumatized because I don't have any place to sleep. When people are going away, where will I sleep? So I have to be thinking on what to do.
Indeed, it's a very traumatizing situation. You heard there some of the residents in the area talking about how much they have been displaced, how they are not getting even places to sleep. And Faisal, you're still with us. Today is Monday and school children are supposed to be in school. How is the disaster impacting education in the area?
Yes, Judith, the impact on education is extremely negative. I've been informed by teachers at the Amutinu MA Basic School earlier this morning that several of the school children who were here even last week could not turn up because in the weekend when the incident happened, several of them lost their school uniforms, they lost their books and every other school material to the sea. Now, that has been the situation since 2021, as many of the parents flee the area with their children. Enrollment in the school reduces. Now, Monday, which is today, I got to the school around 9 a.m. and there were just a few of them in the classrooms. And the teachers told me that it is because of Saturday's incident that even this morning, a number of them could not turn up. It is not just education. Every aspect of their lives, including livelihoods, have been affected. Women who are engaged in one form of trade or the other, including fishmongers, have lost their ovens to the sea. And so it is looking like a ghost town for Salakopa, for instance, where there's nobody at all at the moment. In the evening, you still find a few people come around, sleep along the streets.
Thanks for your time. That's my colleague Faisal Abdou-Idris. He has been painting a solid picture for us right there from the Ketu Lagoon, where many have been displaced as a result of the tidal waves. Of course, we'll be getting more details of this particular situation in our subsequent bulletins. Let's head to the Ashanti region. Mauna.
That's exactly where we're going, where talk about the deteriorating state of a major bridge that leads to Kotokuom and several other farming communities in the Chimampunia district. The bridge currently is inaccessible to many vehicles and risks collapsing at any given moment. Our colleague Ibrahim Abubakar is joining us with a bit more details as you see on the screens really what the bridge looks like and its current state. Ibrahim, we're seeing on the screens, and Ibrahim is joining us via phone, by the way, we're seeing on the screens the current state of the bridge. Talk to us about the concern of residents, considering how this bridge looks now and the fear that it could cave in at any given moment.
Well, Mauna, the residents said they've been complaining for the past 8 years. In fact, the bridge started deteriorating 8 years ago, but due to years of neglect, you could see that even some of the supporting pillars of the bridge has broken, which means that the bridge can collapse at any given time. Now, when you are even walking on the bridge, you realize that it's shaking. So driving is a very dangerous aspect of accessing the road. The residents have complained over and over and over because these are communities that produces a chunk of Ghana's cocoa, and they believe that they've been neglected for so long a time. And they are just hoping that as soon as possible, some form of intervention will come so that the bridge will fix. They don't want a situation whereby we will wait until something that is avoidable, a disaster that is avoidable will occur until we take steps and fix the bridge. I engage with some of the residents and let's listen to what we've been sharing with you.
All right.
It's very risky, even as we are standing on it, and any vehicle passing, you hear there is a noise and do stuff. So it's very risky. So we are just hoping they will face the bridge any moment from now.
I am sure also pass a Ujina Sena will be Namswa. Utakama unko. Unam so de unye. Nemo wa Sena will be Namswa. Ubon's edre pass. In Chance. Paul na wana and a dapomono. A book. Inti Bambo Bia Nincheho. Kano kwa. Just autonomo. Ekavuka Krebi. And Sana what to be Enya. Uka Nimuzwa. Next a bridge. Nade Wobina Nina. I aspire Arinachi.
Ibrahim, we learned the Roads and Highways Minister has inspected the state of the bridge. What next steps has he provided to fixing the bridge?
Minister for Roads and Highways, Kwame Abuja, and the regional minister got to the scene and they saw the extent of deterioration, immediately they requested that the bridge be closed for traffic. So as we speak, they have blocked the main entrance of the bridge. They said they will not allow any car to be able to even try and access it. So now what the ministry has done is to immediately award the project or the bridge to a contractor. So he's hoping that by Friday the contractor will mobilize himself, come back and start fixing. But for now, they have found a new route for them. But it is long though, because from one end of the bridge to the other, it's just like 2 minutes to the main community, 3 minutes. But now they have to use another community, which will take them not less than an hour or two before they will be able to access. And let's listen to what the minister, Kwame Abuja, has been also saying.
Declared that this bridge is no longer available for traffic. He's described the detour, the places we will pass, and we will help. We hope that the police will make sure that nobody comes. Today, we are handing over the site to the contractor to start work. Today, we are not going to go The contractor will start work today. We are handing over the site to the contractor today. We hope by Friday they should be able to mobilize and start doing the thing that they need to do. I wish I could tell them within 2 or 3 months, but I believe that the caliber of the contractor we are talking about, they should be able to do this within the shortest possible time, so that we can bring relief to the people.
Gavin Kwame Abuja is the Minister for Roads and Highways. Earlier, my colleague Ibrahim Abubakar providing details there for us.
In more news, calls have intensified for government to commit more resources to step up the fight against wildlife crimes and human-induced reduction of species, which have wide-ranging economic, environmental and social impacts. As Ghana joins the rest of the world to observe World Wildlife Day, stakeholders in wildlife conservation are lamenting low investment in wildlife conservation. Well, it is one of the key drivers of tourism in Ghana. Let's touch base with my colleague Christopher Amwako, bring us more details on this. Chris, now the issues of funding for wildlife conservation has become a matter of concern for industry players. How is this affecting operations at Mole Park?
Yes, so we all know that the Mole National Park is the largest protected area in the country. And so over the years, they have talked about the fact that poaching and other human activities has been affecting the operation at the park, especially when it comes to the conservation of these wildlife. And so as today marks World Wildlife Day, they are making a proposal to government to, as it were, provide more resources when it comes to the use of technology in the protection of these protected areas, so that the animals will be well protected and not to be killed by poachers. The park manager for Mole National Park, Ali Mahama, has been explaining the need for government funding.
Wildlife is one of the key drivers of tourism in Ghana, in Africa, and worldwide. And so once we are able to invest in our wildlife, we are able to bring more tourism, more people into the country. It is going to help us to grow our economy. The economy of some countries in Africa are mostly being financed through tourism activities. So this thing I want to raise is the issue of the operations. That is, the government must do better in order to help especially the protected areas, which cannot even generate revenue by themselves, to be able to, let me say, manage those protected areas well. And it's the use of technology, where we could bring on board technology, the use of drones, the use of softwares that could help, that could be deployed into the system, like Mole National Park is currently piloting, the F-Ranger system. This F-Ranger helps the staff to monitor the resources real time, but this needs more funding to be able to deploy some of these technologies or some of these softwares to other protected areas in the country. All what we need to do is just to make sure that the protected areas are well preserved.
Well, many thanks for your time. That's my colleague Christopher Marco. He has been bringing us details on International Wildlife Day. And well, that's a wrap of the bulletin for today.
Absolutely. You're looking good.
Oh, you're looking great as well. Oh,
so in your traditional, what? So you're a queen mother?
Yes, but today, done in both the Ashanti and the, I'm using both the Ashanti and Aga traditions because
a mixture of
both.
So
then I'm
that's
wearing
good.
the kente and then the jewelry.
Fantastic. A lot more of these you would see as we here at Media General officially launch Ghana Month for you in terms of stories, productions, you name it, what. You find all of that here if you stay with us here on TV3 and across all Media General platforms. That's our bulletin for you. The Czar, I am Mawina Igbeta.
And I am Judith Brown. Once again, happy Ghana Month and do enjoy the rest of the day. Bye-bye.